3 weeks after the surgery, I stood in my kitchen without holding the counter. No wobble, no sharp bolt of pain. Just me, upright. That was when my son finally called back. Not to ask how I was, to say he was busy. Back then, before any of that, the doctor leaned against the exam table and talked like he was explaining a late bus. Lumbar disc herniation, nerve compression, not life-threatening, but if I waited, I'd walk wrong, maybe forever. He said it flat, no drama. The room smelled like disinfectant and old paper. I nodded like I understood bodies better than I do. The number came next. $5,000 up front. Not the whole thing. Just the part that unlocked the door. I didn't panic. That surprised me. I'm not brave. I just get quiet when something big lands. I went home and sat on the edge of my bed and stared at my hands. They were steady. That felt important. My name is Marianne Holt. I am 65 years old. I've been widowed long enough that people stop lowering their voices around me. My husband left me money when he died. Not a fortune. Enough. I haven't touched it. That was a promise I made to myself on a bad night. One of those stupid promises that feels smart until it isn't. So I decided to make a call. Not because I needed to, because I wanted to know. I called my son first. I told him I needed surgery. I told him the cost. I said I'd pay him back. I didn't dress it up. I didn't cry. Honestly, I didn't even ask for comfort. I asked for a loan. He paused, then said he had just put a down payment on a new car. Like it explained everything. I remember thinking, kind of dumbly, that this was the part where he'd add something else. A question. A plan. He didn't. I ended the call before my voice could do something embarrassing. You ever hang up fast just to keep yourself intact? Yeah, that. I sat there a minute. Then I picked up my purse. There were other calls to make. I wasn't ready to make them yet. I didn't call my son back after that. I put the phone face down like it might start talking on its own. My back throbbed. Low and dull, like a bad engine light you pretend not to see. People would say I should have just paid for it myself. They wouldn't be wrong. My husband left me money. I don't talk about it. I barely think about it. It's been sitting there for years, untouched, like a line I didn't want to cross unless I had to. That rule started the night he died. I remember the hospital room humming, some machine clicking too slow. He squeezed my hand and muttered, half joking, half serious, "You don't know who people are until helping you costs them something." Then he drifted off. That was the last clear thing he ever gave me. I carried that line around like a tool I never used. Until now. I wasn't trying to trap anyone. I wasn't setting a test. I just needed to know where I stood before I made choices that couldn't be undone. There's a difference. At least that's what I told myself. I didn't ask for a gift. I asked for a loan, clear terms. I'd pay it back. I even planned how. Cut things. Sell a few things. Manage. I've always managed. That's probably part of the problem. When Evan brushed it off so easily, something settled in me. Not anger, not even disappointment. More like a drawer finally closing. I thought about calling Lena next, then stopped. She was always stretched thin, always apologizing for things she didn't cause. I didn't want her guilt in my lap yet. I stood up too fast and had to grab the chair. That was new. That mattered. Here's the part I don't say out loud. I didn't want money. I wanted clarity. Once you have that, the rest is just logistics. I waited a day before calling Evan again, not to give him space, more like to give myself a second run at it, see if it landed different. He answered fast this time. Too fast. Like he'd been holding the phone. "Hey, Mom, what's up?" Bright voice. Busy voice. "I need surgery." I told him, straight in. My back. "The doctor wants to do it soon." There was a pause. Not concern, more like calculation. What kind of surgery? Disc herniation. Nerves getting crushed. If I wait, I might not walk right. I kept it plain. I need $5,000 up front. I'll pay you back. Another pause. Longer. We just put a down payment on a new car, he went on. Casual. It's kind of a lot right now. I stared at the wall while he talked. A faint clicking sound came through the phone. Turn signal. Maybe. Or his pen. Something small and repetitive. It's not like we don't want to help, he added. Timing's just bad. I'm not asking for a gift. I reminded him. I'm asking for a loan. Yeah, I get that. He didn't sound like he did. But you always land on your feet. You've always been like that. That one landed wrong, compliment-shaped, empty inside. I didn't rush. I didn't soften it. I asked the only thing that mattered. And if I don't this time, silence. Not dead air, just him breathing. Well, he went on, clearing his throat. Claire and I are trying to be smart right now. You know how it is? We've got plans. Right, I replied. One word. All I had. He filled the space fast, talked about interest rates, about how the car was a good deal, about how things would settle soon. He even laughed once, like this was drifting somewhere lighter. I let him talk. Then I cut in. I should let you go. You sure? We can talk later. We already did. I ended the call before he could argue with that. My hand shook when I set the phone down. Not from anger, from something colder, like a decision being made without my permission. I stood up slowly. The pain caught. Sharp and familiar. I waited for it to pass. It did. I stayed standing. That mattered more than anything he'd just told me. I hadn't even moved the phone away from my ear when Claire's voice slid in. Bright. Light. Like she'd been waiting. Oh my God. She went. A small laugh tucked into it. Evan told me. You're stressing over this. I didn't answer. I didn't need to. She kept going anyway. Things are kind of tight right now, she added. You know how business is, up and down. I pictured the last photo she posted. New patio furniture, white cushions, matching glasses. I let that sit between us. Evan tried to jump back in. We're just trying to be responsible. Claire laughed again. Not mean. Worse? Casual. You'll figure it out. You always do. That line didn't sting. It flattened. Like being reduced to a habit. I'm not asking you to fix my life. I cut in. My voice stayed even. That surprised me. I asked for a loan. She exhaled, slow and patient. And we're saying we can't. Not right now. There it was. No room left. Evan kept talking about cash flow and projections, stacking words like they could build a bridge back to decency. I didn't remind them I was talking about my spine, not their spreadsheet. I was done being reduced to a habit. I just ended the call. The quiet after felt thick. My phone buzzed once, probably an apology forming. I flipped it face down. Here's me breaking the wall for a second. This wasn't the first time someone smiled while stepping over me. It was just the first time I noticed how easy it was for them. I stood there, breathing through the pain, letting that laugh settle where it belonged. After I hung up, I didn't call anyone else. I sat with it, not the pain, the shape of it. I thought about all the times Evan didn't have to ask. Rent, when he first moved out, a slow month at work, a gap I quietly filled so he wouldn't feel it. I never made a speech. I just handled it. That was my thing. Fix it. Keep it moving. I could hear my own voice from years ago telling him, "You've got this." I meant it as encouragement. He took it as policy. I realized then that I had trained him to expect distance. I built the ground under his feet for so long that he forgot what it was like to fall. My silence wasn't keeping the peace. It was just keeping him comfortable. You stop feeding a pattern once you finally see it. That realization hurt more than the call, because it put me in the frame, not as a victim, as a participant. I didn't spiral. I don't do that. I took responsibility and kept it contained. There's a difference. My phone lit up with a text from Evan. Didn't mean to upset you. No apology. No follow-up, just enough to smooth his conscience. I didn't answer. Here's the brief break. Because it matters if you've ever stayed quiet to keep the peace. You might recognize this part. The moment you realize the peace was only quiet for you, I stood, slow and careful, and felt the familiar pull in my back. I waited it out. Then I moved. That was the rule now. No rushing, no explaining. I wasn't going to justify myself anymore. Not to Evan, not to Claire. The pattern was clear. Once you see it, you stop feeding it. Lena showed up 2 days later. No warning, just a knock that sounded like her soft, then firmer, like she was arguing with herself. I opened the door and she stepped in fast, dropped her bag, hugged me careful around my back like she'd already measured the risk. You look tired. She went, eyes scanning me the way nurses do. I am, I told her. Sit. She didn't. She reached into her jacket and pulled out an envelope. Old paper, bent corner. She held it out with both hands. What's that? I asked, already knowing. $800. She answered. No build-up, no drama. It's everything I have right now. I shook my head. Lena, no, put it away. She pushed it closer. Please don't do that thing where you protect me from helping. I tried again. You need it. I already spent what I had to. She went on. Words tumbling now. The landlord freaked me out. Lease renewal. I paid 3 months up front so he couldn't pull anything. After that, this is it. She swallowed. I'm sorry it's not more. I didn't reach for the envelope. My hands stayed in my lap. I didn't ask you. I know, she replied. But you're having surgery. A loan. I reminded her. I asked your brother for a loan. She let out a short breath. He told me. Of course he did. She sat down hard, like her legs gave up. I don't have $5,000. I don't even have half of that. But I have this. She slid the envelope until it touched my knee. You need it more than I do. That sentence landed heavy. Not loud, final. I pushed it back. I can manage. She leaned forward. Mom, stop. Her voice cracked on the last word. Just stop. We stared at each other, her jaw tight. Mine doing that thing where it locks when I'm about to say something wrong. Here's me breaking the wall for a second. This is the moment people talk around, the one where pride pretends its dignity. I picked up the envelope. It felt thin, honest. Thank you, I told her. It came out rough. I didn't fix it. She nodded, relief flashing quick, then gone. I didn't do it to be brave, she added. I just couldn't not do it. I folded the envelope and set it beside me. My back throbbed. Steady and mean, I breathed through it. Lena stayed, made tea. Didn't ask about Evan. Didn't ask about money. That mattered. Later, when she left the room, I held the envelope again. $800. Not enough to solve anything. Enough to change everything. I used my husband's money the next morning. No ceremony, no speech to myself. I called the clinic and gave them the number they wanted to hear, $5,000, up front. The woman on the line softened right away. Amazing how that works. The surgeon checked in before they rolled me back. We'll take good care of you. I nodded. I didn't need comfort. I needed precision. When I woke up, my back felt wrong in a different way. Cleaner pain, like something had been set straight and my body hadn't caught up yet. The nurse told me the procedure went well. You did great, she added, like effort had anything to do with it. 3 to 4 weeks. They told me. Slow movement. No heroics. I took that seriously. I've learned the hard way that rushing only makes things louder. Lena visited once. Sat at the edge of the bed. Kept her hands busy with the strap of her bag. Text me if you need anything. She went. I told her I would. I meant it. Evan didn't come. He sent a message a few days later. Hope you're okay. I left it unread longer than necessary, then longer than polite. I stayed still on purpose. Walked when they told me. Stopped when it hurt. I didn't make calls. I didn't explain myself. I let the days stack. Quick break. Just between us, this part looks passive from the outside. It wasn't. It was restraint. There's a difference. By the end of the second week, I could stand without bracing. By the third, I could think clearly again. That mattered more. Because once the pain quieted, the numbers got louder. I didn't go hunting for dirt. I went looking for numbers. There's a difference. The attorney Lena found worked out of a small office above a pharmacy. No sign on the door. Just a name on a frosted window. He shook my hand. Firm. Then listened without interrupting while I laid it out. Surgery. The loan I asked for. The car. The business. He flipped a legal pad toward me. I'll need permission to look. He went. And time. You have both. I replied. I don't need speed. I need accuracy. The attorney's findings were clean. Evan and Claire weren't successful. They were leveraged. The car. The business. Their entire lifestyle was a house of cards, held together by a single line of credit. I didn't feel anger. I felt clarity. I wasn't protecting my money anymore. I was using it to buy back my dignity. Here's the break. Quick and honest. This is the part where people expect anger. I didn't feel it. I felt clean. What are my options? I asked. He tapped the page. You could acquire that single obligation through a third party. Quietly, I nodded. Do that. We formed a small company that afternoon. Plain name, no fingerprints. I funded it with money I'd already accepted was gone. That mattered. I wasn't protecting it anymore. When the paperwork came back, I read every line. Then I read it again. I signed once. No calls to Evan. No warning shots. No speeches about family. I went home and made soup. The smell was faint. Comforting in a basic way. I ate standing up, careful not to twist. By the time the first notice went out, I was already done thinking about it. The weakest link had a new owner. I just hadn't introduced myself yet. The notice didn't come to me first. It went to Evan. I know because he called that afternoon, voice tight, words stacked too fast. Mom, do you know anything about a letter from our lender? I do. I answered. Kept it level. What do you mean you do? He laughed once. Sharp. They're talking about default. That's not possible. It is, I replied. If a payment clears late. It didn't clear late. He pushed back. I sent it. They received it after the window. He started pacing. I could hear it. Shoes on tile. This is ridiculous. We need to talk to them. Can you come with us? You're good with paperwork. I let a beat pass. I'll be there. The meeting was set for the next morning. Evan and Claire arrived together, still wearing confidence like a jacket they hadn't taken off yet. Claire opened with charm. We're just here to straighten out a misunderstanding. The man at the head of the table looked at Evan, then at me. Ms. Holt purchased the obligation. She is the representative now. Evan's mouth opened and closed like a landed fish. Mom, I didn't raise my voice. I didn't even look at him. I just opened the folder in front of me. Family isn't on the balance sheet today, Evan. It's just business. His mouth opened, then closed. Claire leaned forward. This is family business. It's business. I went. Family isn't listed. The man slid a folder across. Dates. Numbers. One missed payment triggering a clause they'd never read closely. Cross default. Acceleration. Everything depending on that single line of credit. Evan tried again. We can fix this. We just need time. You had time, I answered. You used it. Claire's voice sharpened. You're doing this to punish us. No, I replied. I'm enforcing terms. Here's the brief break, because it matters. This is where yelling would have felt good. I didn't do it. I didn't need to. Evan looked at the papers. Then at me. You own this? Yes. The room went quiet. Not stunned. Emptied. Confidence drained first. Then anger tried to step in and couldn't find footing. I'm your mother. He went softer now, I know, I answered. That's why I didn't raise my voice. The meeting ended without ceremony. Signatures gathered. Next steps outlined. Evan didn't look at me as we stood. I gathered my things slow, careful with my back. When I turned to leave, he finally spoke. You could have warned me. I did, I replied, and walked out before the words could turn into something else. The fallout didn't come with sirens or shouting. It came as emails, locked accounts, quiet conversations behind closed doors. Evan and Claire lost control piece by piece. No one clapped. No one pointed. That mattered to me. Lena moved back into a smaller place closer to work. I helped with the deposit. Not a rescue, a reset. She hugged me hard and whispered, I'll pay you back. I told her, don't rush. She smiled like she understood the difference. Evan showed up one evening. No warning this time. He stood in the doorway like he wasn't sure he belonged there anymore. I didn't think you'd go that far, he muttered. I didn't think you'd go that easy. I answered. He rubbed his face. You didn't have to ruin us. I didn't punish you. I told him as he stood in my doorway. Looking smaller than I'd ever seen him. I just stopped protecting you from the consequences you created. You were loud when you thought I was a resource. And you're quiet now, because you realized I'm the owner. Sit with that. He looked smaller then, not broken, just exposed. He nodded once and left. Here's the part I want to say out loud, because it matters. Love isn't endless coverage. It's not absorbing every consequence so someone else stays comfortable. Sometimes the most honest thing you can do is step back and let reality speak. I walked past the dealership on the way home. Same shiny cars. Same glass. I kept moving. My back held. My legs did what I asked. If this story hit somewhere close, take a second to like it, leave a comment, or subscribe. I read them. I'm still learning too. I didn't get closure. I got something better. Balance. And I'm keeping it.